more, Cindy Jernigan is features editor of the Clayton News Daily in Jonesboro. She was only 20 when she dug up the evidence that saved this man from the electric chair. Jerry Banks had found the bodies and called police, something most murderers don't do. And Jernigan learned there were witnesses who had heard rapid-fire shots that could not have been fired by Banks' shotgun. She learned that their testimony had been ignored by police, and she began to understand why.
Fear. I believe that in Henry County in 1974, in November of 1974, there was a great deal of fear. People were afraid that there was a murderer loose. And Jerry Banks was a very convenient person. He was found with a shotgun, and he found the bodies, and he was black, and he was a convenient suspect.
So if Jerry Banks didn't do it, who did?
I've investigated, and I've talked and investigated and talked, but I have no idea. I don't believe we'll ever know.
We do know that the killer is still at large. Jernigan received several anonymous death threats when her stories were printed, but she says she only started the ball rolling. She credits Banks' attorneys for getting him freed.
It was a very good Christmas present to have Jerry released.
What was it like when you met him for the first time?
I wanted to cry.
And Mr. Welch asked me what I would like to have for Christmas. I told him I would like to go home. He said, well, let's go. Get your bag and let's go.
What went through your mind at that time?
I almost fainted. I wasn't sure if he was kidding or not.
Attorney Buddy Welch wasn't kidding, and Jerry Banks is free. Banks had spent 6 years in jail, 3 of them on death row, for a 1974 double murder in Henry County. Banks said he was innocent, and twice the state Supreme Court ordered new trials. The second time after newspaper reporter Cindy Jernigan came up with new evidence. It was evidence and how it was handled that caused the state to drop its case. The evidence is shotgun shells. The victims were killed by a shotgun. Shells near the bodies were identified as having come from Banks' shotgun. But there's a possibility that shells from Banks' gun were switched for the ones found on the scene. In its motion to drop the case, the DA's office says the man who first had custody of the shells, former Deputy Philip Howard, tampered with evidence in other cases and perjured himself. As a result, the DA feels the evidence pertaining to the shells is totally unreliable. Banks says he has no bitterness about his experience.
No, sir. I think everybody makes mistakes. I think the Henry County Sheriff's Department District Attorney's Office made an honest mistake that anybody could have made.
What do you feel about the whole system of justice in this country where you could end up spending 6 years in jail?
I think it works. If it didn't work, I would have been in a lot more trouble. So it works, very slowly, but it works.
Jerry Banks says he isn't really sure what he's going to do now. The only plans that he has are to spend Christmas at home with his wife and his children. In McDonough, Paul Miller, Action News. Some people in Henry County will tell you that the criminal justice system had almost as much to do with Jerry Banks' death as it would have if he had been executed for murder. Family members say Banks was not the same after spending 6 years in jail, part of the time on death row.
No, he's already upset when he come in prison. And he been upset ever since he came back.
Sitting up there on death row thinking you finna die any day, it's enough to run you insane. I don't think I could deal with that.
His attorneys say there's no question that Banks' marriage problems were related to his spending 6 years in prison. It's a tragic situation to